Today's episode, I'm going to share with you instances when I behave like a mentalist. If you're new to my channel, I'm Christian Chua. I'm a body language and face profiling expert. And in this channel, we'll break down the body language of famous people, famous incidents, and even read between the lines. So, let's get going. So there was one occasion where I bought something off our local, what you call eBay. It's called Carousel here in Singapore. I was buying a TV console off a seller from Carousel. So the moment I rang the doorbell, the door swung open. There was a young lady there and I said, I'm here to pick up the TV console. And she said, well, good morning, and the TV console's right here. And I looked at her and I said, are you a lawyer? And she looked at me. Do I know you? I said, no, I'm just making a shot in the dark. He said, how do you become so accurate? And first guess is that I'm a lawyer and you're spot on. Okay, so that was the first incident. On a separate incident, I was with some friends having lunch and I asked my group, do you want me to tell you who are on those tables? And they said, yeah, go ahead. And I said, they are teachers or ex-teachers. And later on, when they came over, we proved to be correct. So I'm going to run down the two incidents and I'm going to break down to you and for you, and so that you could also pick up some pointers here. So first of all, I want to say that I am good at reading people, especially my own countrymen, because when you look at them every day, there's a repeated behavior, and the clothes that they buy and the things that they buy, I'm familiar with those products in Singapore, and I'm familiar with the demographics of people that buy them. So the pilots in Singapore like to wear Berthelin watches, and the real estate people, they usually like to go for BMW cars and similar. So with this kind of data that I have, when I make a guess, it is much more accurate. So I do not know whether this same factors will be relevant in your country, but certainly from where you are, you will notice a certain pattern. Okay, like a certain man will wear checkered shirts, or a certain group of people will wear baggy pants, etc. Okay. So let's get into it. So the moment I ring the doorbell, the door opened, I would like to share with you what were the factors I took into consideration. So first of all, it was an upmarket apartment, which means it's on a good district. Anyone who can afford that would probably have a good job. So when the door opened, this lady was young, maybe 30s or just late 20s. She was attractive. She had a bubbly character and she spoke very good English. She seemed to be staying alone because it was like a small studio apartment. So I guess she's not married. She's either staying alone or with a roommate. And if she can afford it at that age, I narrowed down to 3 possible occupations: a doctor, a lawyer, a private banker. So it's narrowed down to these 3. So with a good spoken English, lawyer jumps out first of all, but doctors of course also speak good English. Now the difference between the lawyers and doctors is like this in Singapore. The lawyers tend to be more wild in a way that after a very stressful day at court or in the office, they usually go down to the central business district area and they will have drinks in the pub. And usually a doctor's lifestyle is not so much like that. They have long hours and then they are really tired after that and they need to extend their shift. So they usually go back home and rest. So the profile of a lawyer and a female lawyer and a female doctor, I'm generalizing, it is quite different. So I expected a doctor to look a little bit more conservative and probably would not stay in those areas, although there's always exception, as I said. So I boiled down to a banker and a lawyer. And I made a guess, are you a lawyer? And she said, yes, I am. So if I got it wrong, I said, then you work in the bank. Based on the likelihood and the mess of doctors, lawyers, and bankers, the chances that you would say, oh, this is an arborist, someone who look after the trees, that's going to be very rare in Singapore. Okay, so this is just a calculated guess. Sometimes you get it right, and if you do, you're going to impress your candidate. Now, the second group of people, I was with my friends in a very unusual eating place. It's called, I don't even know what it is. Probably when I edit the YouTube, I will show you. This is where we went. Okay, so it's a floating restaurant off the island. So we take a boat to the restaurant, and it's a seafood restaurant. So it's like a chill out place. So where Singaporeans have nowhere to go, they will rent a boat, and then we take like a half an hour ride to this restaurant. And there were only about 2 or 3 tables of diners, and the other table were a group of slightly older ladies, and there were about 8 to 9 of them, and they were maybe in their late 50s or early 60s. I overhear the conversation. Again, they speak good English, and they have that kind of camaraderie. I know that teachers who work in a school together for years will have that bond and that friendship. It is just how it works. So to think that there's a bunch of retired teachers or retired principals coming together, the chances are pretty high. Of course, there could be other possibilities that they come from an association or a exercise group. That is possible too. As we were cutting the cake, one of the ladies came over, and with her kind of bonus, she said, "Good afternoon, and you guys celebrating your birthday?" And I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you guys teachers?" And she said, "We are all retired teachers." And my colleagues were like, "How did you do that?" Okay, so that's the second incident that I was spot on. Now the third one was at Club Med Bintan, and that's in Indonesia. So my colleague and I, my co-trainer and I were there for a training, and since we had a lot of time, so we head into the crystal clear water sea, or the crystal clear waters of Club Med. So there I met a Asian guy. I said hello, and he said hello, and I said, "You Korean?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." Then I said, "How long are you here?" He says, 6 days already here." And I said, "Are you lawyer?" He said, "How do you know I'm a lawyer?" Again, guess it was a lawyer. This skill is based on the probability of elimination. So for someone to be able to afford Club Med for 7 days, and it's not cheap at all, again, he or she should be well-to-do. And then at that point, that was about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a lot of Koreans don't speak English at all. If you've been to Korea, been to Seoul, they struggle, even the teens struggle to speak English. That was time before BTS and Blackpink. So for a guy who was able to hold a conversation with me in English, I said, where did you get your education? And he said, "Oh, I studied in England." So when he said studied in England, for an Asian to spend that type of money to go to England, a lot of them go there for the law degree. A lot. So again, based on probability and elimination, I said, "Are you a lawyer?" And he said, "Oh, I am a lawyer. What do you do for a living?" So I said, "I'm a profiling expert." Okay, so are there instances that I get it wrong? Of course there are. Maybe in our coming episodes, I will do street mentalist practice. So I'll get the camera, get someone with me, I'll stop people, and I say, "Hey, I'm gonna guess your occupation. You don't have to reveal anything, just say whether I'm right or wrong." Should I do that?